Jay Pandolfo, the NHL's Draft Lottery is here at long last. What is someone getting in Macklin Celebrini?
They're getting a franchise centerman that you can build around. He's a special player. Never mind being a special player. He's a special person too. Just how mature he is as a person, especially for a 17-year-old, and he just does everything the right way. He's beyond prepared, and I think that's why he's as good as he is. I mean, obviously he has the talent to go along with it, but he gets everything out of himself. One of the most competitive kids I've been around. So I think that, that helps his game. It helps him be as detailed as he is in everything he does. He wants to be the best, and you see it every day from him. So he's going to be a special player for a long time.
So I want to actually back you up a little bit. How does a kid that grew up in Vancouver and lived most of his life on the West Coast end up playing at BU? What's the story in terms of how he became a Terrier?
So a little bit of a long story, but
we got time.
We didn't know. We got time. We didn't know for sure if he was going to go the NCAA route. We had heard different things. Clearly, he would have been, a WHL player. I think his dad been around the game of hockey for a while, knew different people. I think thought of the NCAA route would be good for him, especially if he went in a little early, playing against older players, help him develop that way. So we had heard different things, and I had just gotten the job as the head coach at BU, and Joe Pereira, who's our assistant coach, does a lot of the recruiting. He had heard some of the same things, and he just he's like, I'm just going to call his dad and, see what he says. And he knew his dad. We knew his dad was working for Golden State at the time. He still is. And they were actually in town playing the Celtics in the NBA championship. So Joe had given him a call and was just talking to him about BU. And, we were kind of asking if Macklin was interested in the NCAA route. And Rick said, he was open. And Rick had known some people in the hockey circles that knew a little bit about BU and a little bit about the staff. So he said, yeah, he'd love to come over and check it out. So that's kind of how it happened. Rick came over and checked it out. He brought his strength coach over who had a lot to do with the Vancouver Canucks beforehand. And we kind of just got chatting and talking and what we kind of wanted to do with the program. And Rick said that, listen, if we win, I think it was game 2 maybe or game 3 in Boston, if they won game 5 with the chance to clinch, he'd fly the whole family out with them. And that's what happened. And then we got the family on campus and just developed a relationship. And that's how we got Macklin.
So he's doing all of this in the middle of the NBA Finals?
Oh yeah, he the morning of I can't remember exactly what game it was, but it was in the morning he came over. So he's a great guy. Like we had a great conversation. We spent a couple hours together, and he didn't come the second time when the family came back over. I think it was game 6, and he didn't come with the family. Rick, he let the family come over, and we met with the boys, Macklin and Aiden, and his little brother was over, and his sister Charlie, and mom Robin, and they all came over, and we had a great day. And took us obviously a little bit longer to get them committed, but it was a great day, and we had both Macklin and Aiden committed.
Yeah, no doubt. A huge feather in your cap. What do you think ultimately at the end swayed them to go to BU? It's far from home. It's far from where dad works. In a normal year, maybe a player like that ends up in Michigan or goes to North Dakota or pick another school that might be closer. What do you think put BU over the top?
I don't know. I think they were just comfortable with the people. I think that was part of it. I think Rick just felt, and Macklin and Aiden felt comfortable with our staff. We had Kim Brambold on our staff who worked for 8 years for the Bruins doing player development. So I think all those things together, they felt real comfortable sending them to BU. I think they knew kind of the history and tradition of BU. So I think all those factors went into it.
So, Jay, I don't know you at all. We've never chatted before this. You get a commitment like that. You're a new head coach at BU. Are you in your office fist pumping or what?
Pretty much. We were really, really happy. And honestly, never mind just the players we were getting. We spent quite a bit of time with the family. It was just a great family. So to add that to our program was really exciting. Forget just obviously you get excited about the level of talent we have coming in, but really good people, and you could tell that right away. So that was really important to us, and they've only been here a short time, but they made our program a lot better.
So sticking with the human part of Macklin, obviously still 17 years old and growing, but by all accounts, doing my homework, it sounds like he's someone that, despite the attention that's been around him, very humble, one of the guys, and really fit in well this year. Is that an accurate assessment?
Very accurate. Yeah, he fit in very well. He's a really humble kid. He just goes to work. He just works and competes. And I think most teammates, when you have a guy like that, they're going to respect that. Even like from day one, first day on the ice, just how hard he competed. I think guys were a little bit like, whoa, this is real. And this kid's only 17 years old. And he pushed the group. And I think players respect that when you see someone kind of put that type of work in and how competitive he is on every drill. He didn't give anyone an inch. Really cared about his teammates, cared about winning, and guys really respect that. So you can't say enough good things about Macklin from that standpoint.
And when you have older kids on the team and you're the new kind of hotshot 17-year-old that comes in that has all this focus and buzz, when he's the guy after practice picking up pucks, I guess something like that, just like any other freshman, would go a long way.
Yeah, it certainly does. Just his actions on and off the ice, guys really respected that. He didn't think he was any bigger than anyone else on our team, and guys really appreciated that. And like I said, being around, I think pro sports has helped him a lot too. Being around his dad. His dad worked for Vancouver for a long time, and then his dad working with Golden State with that organization, winning championships. Watching Steph Curry and these guys and how they handle himself, I think it just really helped Macklin. I think he'd observed what those guys were doing, and I think he learned a lot from that.
So he arrives with a mature outlook and personality, and on the ice, maybe that's another way to describe him. One of the things that really struck me watching your team on their run to the Frozen Four this year was how much you relied on him. Yeah, he wins the Hobey Baker and an unbelievable freshman season, but when you needed a key draw, when you had a late in game situation, he's a guy that you trusted putting out there. Walk me through, just his process of earning that trust and what you saw from him in growth throughout the year.
Yeah, it's just his maturity as a player. I think you see a kid that's 16, 17-year-old that's that talented offensively and that good offensively. A lot of times it's kind of natural. They're going to cheat the game a little bit from the defensive side of things. And that's the complete opposite of Macklin. Like he wants to be just as good away from the puck as he is when he has it. And we saw that right away. I mean, I saw that even watching him play in Chicago for the Steel the year before. You could just see how detailed he was defensively. So he earned that pretty quickly where, we were going to have trust in him in all situations. And another thing, like we said, he wants to be out there in those situations. The bigger the moment, he wants to be on the ice. He wants to be part of it. So he earned it pretty quickly, and it's just a credit to him on how he's wired and wants to be the best at everything he does in every area.
The other thing that struck me was just the physical maturation. It's one thing to physically be able to do it. It's another thing to go out there against kids that are 4 and 5 years older than you and actually physically impose yourself. This is a guy that loves being in the thick of the action. Did that surprise you at all, jumping from USHL to NCAA, or did you expect that would be part of his game?
I expected it because I had watched him a lot with Chicago. He likes to play inside. And he's physically capable because it's not like he came in as a 17-year-old freshman and was 170 pounds, 175 pounds. He's every bit of 195 pounds. So he could handle it physically. He's been training the right way for a long time. He's put a lot of work in that way. So he was physically ready for it. and he likes to play inside. He likes to go through the middle of the ice. Sometimes I'd like to see him go a little bit less at times, but he's so competitive. He likes that attack mentality. He plays inside the dot. So I wasn't surprised just from watching him before, and I knew where he was physically too, where I thought he'd be able to handle it. And I think guys learn pretty quickly that he's pretty damn strong on his skates too. If you see it at times, guys will bounce off him. So it's impressive the work he's put in up to this point, and he's going to continue to do it.
So we'll take all of that maturation, emotional, physical, the development and details of his game, and you smash all those things together. Jay, you played 900 games in the NHL. Is this guy ready to step into an NHL lineup right away?
I think so. Obviously, we'd love to have him back. The circumstances have to be right for everyone. There's no doubt in my mind he could play in the National Hockey League tonight. Just the way he plays the game. You could put him in a playoff game tonight, and I think he'd do well. Like that. That's my opinion. And so yes, I think he's ready from that standpoint. But we're not opposed to taking him back if he feels like he needs, because he is still really young. He doesn't turn 18 till June. So it's amazing, again, in saying it, that he played his whole freshman year as a 17-year-old. He would play his whole sophomore year as an 18-year-old. So that's pretty impressive. But in saying all that, I think he's very capable of playing in the National Hockey League today. Mm-hmm.
So I cringe at this question, but I need to ask anyway, because I hate the labels that get put on kids. But if you watch the game, you're a student of the game, do you see flashes? Like, give me a comparison wise, and I don't mean production wise, but just pure style in terms of how he plays. If you're a fan listening to this and you're trying to conjure up an image of what Macklin Celebrini might look like when he's a finished product in the NHL, who comes to mind for you?
Yeah, it's high praise, but I think personally, when I watch him and what I've seen, I think Crosby, I think Jonathan Toews, those are the two guys for me that I see the best comparisons with Macklin.
Maybe the Crosby physicality. No one is Sidney Crosby, so obviously no. We're putting him in his own platform and category, but just the physical nature in which he defends, attention to detail, willingness to get to the middle and the inside, are those some of the things that you think of?
Absolutely. Those are the big reasons why, just his willing to attack through the middle of the ice, how responsible he is defensively, all those little things that Crosby does. That's why, I make those comparisons with Macklin.
So this season, his production was split down the middle. Goals and assists were even. Is he preferential to one? Is he predisposed to one, shooting or passing?
No, I don't think so. I think he's, both. He can certainly score. He's got a great release, great shot, but he sees the ice very well too. So just depends on the night for him.
Mm-hmm. And so you mentioned, obviously, you'd love to have him back on campus at BU next year. And by the way, for those listening, there is some precedent. Owen Power, selected number 1 overall a few years ago, went back to school at Michigan. Maybe a bit of a different circumstance because of the position he played. But nonetheless, probably also dependent on who and where Macklin Celebrini is selected by who wins the draft lottery. But I wanted to use that as a segue to say, when you're coaching a program like BU and the storied tradition and history, is it tough, having, it's not tough having a top end player like that, but the idea of one and done, how does that impact your thought process? You're obviously thrilled to have him, but it really is tough to say goodbye.
Yeah, it's certainly tough when, you enjoy coaching a player like that. But we had the understanding, I think you always do when you have a player of that caliber, where he might only be there for 1 year. But he still has made, whether he comes back or he doesn't come back, he's still made a huge impact on our program. Winning the Hobey Baker is a big deal. Helping us get to the Frozen Four is a big deal. Even for the guys that are in our program now that are going to stay for 3 and 4 years, just the way he kind of handles himself on a daily basis, he rubs off on some of our other players. So it helps our program from that standpoint too. What the expectations are in practice every day. How are you supposed to work in practice? How are you supposed to work off the ice? Even though he's only been there 1 year, he's made an impact. So that can last for a long time. And that's kind of what we've had at BU over the years. Players like that kind of make that impact. But when you have the ones, the Jack Eichels, the Maklin Celebrinis, that really, bring it up another level, it can last for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think of the work that Macklin did this year, even just from your lineup perspective, playing with some other young guys and Shane LaChance and Jack Harvey and, kind of helping set the tone for your team this year. That was probably a big part of the engine of how you guys get to the Frozen Four.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, he was certainly the engine for us. I know the guys, that had the opportunity to play with him, and he played with a lot of different forwards this year. I think they really appreciate it. I think he pushed them to make them better players, and that's really important for a program.
Mm-hmm. Wanted to ask about, speaking of the program, NIL has obviously changed college athletics, probably for the better. But one thing I wanted to ask about, when you look at, where your program is at right now, that's kind of one of the big untold stories of this, is that Macklin Celebrini didn't arrive at BU's campus with a pile of NIL money waiting for him. Like, this was, purely based on fit, ability to develop, history, tradition, culture, all those things. Is that fair to say?
No question. That's very fair. At BU, right now we're not handing out lumps of money to players. We don't have, I guess, big college program type collectives and all that sort of stuff. I think for hockey, it's obviously a little different than you're talking about the big football and basketball programs that, have a lot more money to throw around. I think for hockey players, they're looking for the best place to develop that's going to help them get to the next level. And, we're trying to provide that for our players. BU's had a history of doing that, and that's what we're going to try to continue to do. We certainly want our players, and all college players now, having the ability to make some money off name, image, likeness, which I think is the right thing, and it's the new thing, and it's going to continue to evolve.
Mm-hmm. When you think about, you mentioned Jack Eichel, I think of Brady Tkachuk, and now Macklin. Like, you've had some fantastic players come through your program. How much does someone like Macklin help lift up the profile? You're, like I mentioned, one of the storied programs, but to be up at the top perennially, how much does he help?
I think he helps a lot. I think players that are younger, that are thinking about playing college hockey, and they saw that Macklin Celebrini played at Boston University, that certainly helps the Boston University hockey program. And our guys, too, that played in the program, I think they're really proud that Macklin went to BU. Like, he has spoken to all the guys you just mentioned. He's had conversations with Jack Eichel. He's had conversations with Brady Tkachuk, Charlie McAvoy, all these players that have played here. So that certainly helps our program. And hopefully, as Macklin moves forward in his career, he'll have conversations with players that are going to come to Boston University. I think that really goes a long way.
Wanted to ask about the spot that you're in as a coach now. You've got hockey playing sons yourself, but you're also now, looking down the line at your program. You have the chance to recruit some sons of former teammates, sons of guys that you played against. What's that like?
It's interesting, that's for sure. Makes me feel old, I'll tell you that. Yeah, it's fun to see, players that I played with, players that I played against. Now they all have kids that are coming up the ranks here, and it's a pretty unique opportunity to have a chance maybe to coach some of these guys. So it's getting to that point now where more and more players coming up are guys I either played with or played against, and I'll have the opportunity hopefully to coach some of these guys.
Yeah, just another reminder. I always say, at least at the NHL level, hockey is the world's smallest $6 billion industry. Like, everyone knows everyone. There's no secrets. There's no hiding. It's got to be fun to be living in that every day on the college end of it. And And last one for me, just your journey on campus at BU. Unbelievable career as a player, 4 Frozen Fours. You move on back as head coach, 2 trips to the Frozen Four. What has this experience been like for you being a head coach at your alma mater? And, just give me a word on what the future is going to look like.
Yeah, I've had a blast here the last 2 years coaching here. This program means so much to me and what it did for me. I had such a great experience at Boston University, playing for 4 years, playing with some great players. It certainly helped me in my career. We had a lot of success, but just the everyday, competitiveness of our group, having the opportunity to play with Mike Greer, Chris Drury, Chris O'Sullivan, Sean Bay, the names are endless. But it certainly pushed me, and that's what we're trying to do now. Our coaching staff, we want to get the type of players that want to push each other and make each other better, and that's what we're trying to do. We want these guys kind of to have the experience that we had when we were at BU, so they can move on and hopefully have great careers. And like we've had great support from our athletic department. Drew Maricello has been he's been very, very good with us, trying to help us, continue this tradition and history of this program. And Jack Parker as well, who's still around a lot, having the opportunity to coach his grandson, Shane LaChance, has been a lot of fun. And you can just see it with Shane, how much he cares about this program. So we want to keep it going.
Yeah, no doubt. It's been fun to watch. Thank you for sharing your time and insight to chat about Macklin and your program, and wish you all the best at BU.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Saravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.